Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to all our esteemed participants, principals, and teachers. We are delighted to have you with us today for this enlightening session on career assessments in counseling. First and foremost, we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to CBSE for organizing this invaluable session. Your commitment to our students' future is truly commendable. We would also like to express our gratitude to Secretary Sir for making this event possible. Manish Gupta, Himanshu Gupta, IAS Secretary at CBSE, he had been very motivating and shown great leadership and enabled us to create these kind of sessions, which will empower the counselors and teachers in school, which will further help in creating bright careers for our students. And Mrs. Niti Shankar ma'am, Deputy Secretary, Skill Education, Media and PR, CBSE, for her continuous support. She has been very proactive in creating these kind of sessions, making these things possible, and making sure all the teachers and principals at school are in touch with what's happening in the real world out there. They connect with their students and to empower them, to motivate the students, guide them on the right career path for a very bright future. In today's session, it is completely centered around the crucial topic of career assessments in counseling. So these assessments play a vital role in helping students identify their unique strengths, interests, and values. By understanding these aspects, students can make informed decisions about their educational and career paths, leading to greater satisfaction and success in their personal lives. We encourage all participants to actively engage and absorb insights which are shared today. The knowledge gained from the session will be instrumental in setting realistic career goals, exploring suitable career options, and developing essential skills for the job market. So, without further ado, let me introduce Niti ma'am. Niti ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Gaurav, so much. And I would also like to welcome all the participants, the counselors, the teachers, the principals, and other stakeholders on this career assessment and counseling session. CBSE is organizing a series of online capacity building program for counselors and teachers per se. This program particularly aligns with the objectives of the National Education Policy 2020, emphasizing the importance of comprehensive counseling in the educational ecosystem. Today, we will delve how career assessments can play a pivotal role in shaping the future of students. Career assessments are designed to identify the unique strengths, interests, and values, providing a comprehensive understanding of a student's potential. By participating in these sessions, one can gain clarity on natural aptitudes and preferences, which is essential for making informed decisions about educational and career paths. This self-awareness leads to choosing careers that align with the student's passion, increasing the likelihood of a long-term job satisfaction, which is very crucial in today's times, and of course, the professional success per se, if they want to take it in that way. Career assessments also help in setting realistic and achievable career goals. With a clear understanding of your skills and interests, you can explore various career options and determine the best fit for the students. This proactive approach minimizes the chances of future career dissatisfaction and frequent job changes. Additionally, these assessments provide a foundation for personal development too. Understanding the strengths and areas for improvement allows an individual to focus on developing essential skills that are crucial in the job market, such as communication, problem solving, leadership, and the list goes on. We hope that you gain valuable insights into your students' career potential. Let's embark on this journey with our resource person, Rahul. He is an accomplished author and a TEDx speaker and research fellow specializing in the use of psychometrics in career counseling. And I think the list is also long when I come around with talking about Rahul at the moment. So together, we all embark on this exciting journey of self-discovery and strategic career planning together, setting the stage for a fulfilling and successful future for all of us. Thank you so much. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for those motivational words. It will certainly enlighten the teachers and motivate them to gain a lot more skills and knowledge from this particular session. Now, I would like to introduce Mr. Mohit Soni, CEO of Media Entertainment Skills Council. So please come forward and motivate the participants and open the session for us. Mohit sir, please.
Thank you, Gaurav, and my heartiest congratulations and a big thanks to CBSE, in particular our Honorable Secretary CBSE, Shri Himanshu Gupta ji, for his vision of taking this special topic forward. I see this as a great, discussion which has to take place today. And Niti ma'am, it has always been wonderful working with you on this, and I really appreciate the way you have been supporting and refining the ecosystem and taking new initiatives and these kind of fashions forward. And I think today, while Rahul is going to be talking about a major insights of what we should all be focusing on in order to take the students to the layer of not just motivation, but also to the layer where they are becoming fighters of the spirit. So we have been hearing a lot of stories and comments and observations of parents and fellow members, and everybody envisages to understand how the youth today, which has so much of energy, which has so much of knowledge, which has so much of information, can be channelized into something which can help them to become more productive citizens for the country. I feel the topic today is going to really give us a deep dive to understand how this supercharged youth with the system of Google, AI, and all new technologies known to them, and the usage of smartphones, which we might have started in our life, but they are, have been having it for so many years now. With this revolution coming in, with this new technologies coming in, with this new concepts which are changing the way the education system is being moving in right now, I feel it is utmost important for us to understand the importance of the counseling. And when I say counseling, it doesn't just talk about career counseling, it also talks about emotional counseling, it talks about mental counseling, it talks about the overall well being for a candidate. And I think today, while this session drills down, it will be wonderful to hear your comments on the chat box while you're watching this session. We may be happy to take your questions if the time permits. And I think it would be lovely to have your inputs and suggestions while we undertake this career counseling program with you. But trust me, the way we see today the education system, and thanks to all the principal teachers and counselors who are here as a part of this session today, the way we are seeing the revolution coming in the education system, I see that no matter what happens, India will certainly become the leader in taking the world forward. So, with all those thoughts, I wish that we could do whatever the best possible for our new generation to come in. And wherever and anywhere where you feel the council could come in and support, whether it is in terms of experts or whether it in terms of doing some kind of presentations to your independent schools, I think we'll be more than happy to do it. And once again, I want to thank Niti ma'am and Himanshu sir for giving us this opportunity to be a part of this wonderful session and be a part of such an august gathering of principals, teachers, and counselors. So thank you for having me here. Have a wonderful day. And I hope today's session goes really interactive and you also gain something out of it. And we also take back a lot of knowledge from you. So thank you for having me here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mohit sir. So that was Mr. Mohit Soni, CEO of MESC. Now, before introducing our speaker for the day, the wonderful person who will be interacting with you and sharing his insights, let me give you a brief idea so that all the participants have the information which is required. On the registration page, the live stream link of this session is available where you would have already joined, and you can also share it with others who would want to join the session. On the same page, before the conclusion of the session, you will get a feedback form. Please ensure that everybody attending the session fills the feedback form because that will enable you to receive the certificate. We have already given the certificate download link in the circular as well as on the registration page so that you don't wait for any emails. You can take your feedback and your certificates will be available on 28th of June for all the participants. So I repeat, your certificates after taking the feedback forms will be generated and shared on the link on 28th of June. So now let's go for the moment we have been waiting for. So for this particular session, I mean, a wonderful person to open these counseling sessions. Let me introduce Mr. Rahul Iswar. It's a challenge to introduce him. He is such a wonderful person. If you want to know a lot more in detail, you can visit Wikipedia and read all about him. But I'll try to do justice with the time that I have. So he's a philosophy author of 4 books and also an educationist. Featured in BBC, New York Times, CNN, Sputnik, Russia, and all major Indian media. Many of you might already know him. Part of three Guinness World Records, including largest career assessment in the world and 4 TEDx speeches. So we could not think of a person to open these sessions other than Mr. Rahul Ishwar. He is alumnus of Indian Institute of Management and London School of Economics. He has delivered sessions in 12 nations across the world, including USA, UK, Hong Kong, Finland, Malaysia, and many more. So let me not waste your time and take you directly and take you to Shri Rahul Ishwar. Rahul sir, over to you and please address the participants. We are looking for a wonderful session. I will be there throughout the session interacting with you. We can have sort of discussions and we'll also share the questions from the participants, whatever they are writing in comments. So I request all the participants to put your questions, which I will take through the channel and take it forward to Rahul sir. Rahul sir, over to you.
Thank you so much, Gauravji, and especially, and I had the great privilege of working with Niti ma'am earlier too. Niti ma'am, so happy to see you. And Mohitji, who has been instrumental in organizing these kind of things. Thank you to CBSE. Thank you to all the Media and Entertainment Skill Council. Thank you to Gauravji for this. So our session will be more of an insight sharing to you. This won't be a lecture. This won't be anything else. But I'm sharing some aspects of my life, some mistakes of my life, so that you can understand those mistakes shouldn't be repeated. So shall I share the screen, please?
Certainly, sir. You have the access. You can share.
Yes. Can you see it? Is it coming?
Yes, sir. It's visible, very clear.
Yeah. 1 second. I'll share one more time because it's showing the screen sharing is paused. Yeah. I hope it is visible.
Yes, it's very clear.
And I believe this is one of the most important aspects in shaping up our students for the future. And I'm just going to share some scientific understanding and insights regarding the importance of career assessments in counseling. My name is Rahul Ishwar. I'm an alumni of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and I pursued global leadership from the London School of Economics. Right now, I'm specializing on career assessment and psychometrics, doing my doctorate work in the Golden Gate University, San Francisco. As Gauravji was earlier telling, we had the great privilege of getting the largest career assessment test in the world, which was approved by Guinness. I'm in the field of education for the past 16 years. The research I quote today are courtesy 2 sources. One is William Tan. He's a very famous researcher and career strategist from Vancouver, Canada, and Lifeology, the research work I'm quoting. Gauravji was mentioning many aspects regarding my credential to take this class, but I believe the best credential for me to take this class is the next one, the next slide you should see. I lost my father when I was in the 9th standard. I was of the age, say, 14. I was the only child of my family. My mother was a homemaker and she didn't have much clue. But my father's job, the dying hardness happened, and my mother got the job of my father in the bank. He was working as a senior manager in a bank in Delhi. We came back to our home state and we settled here. My mother got the job. I was very confused regarding what to do in life. I was very confused regarding my +2. How should I shape my career? What are the things I should do? I was very interested in philosophy. I wrote a book. This is the Indian Express, cutting almost 22 years back. So, I wrote a book in philosophy by the age of 19 and released it by the age of 20. So my natural inclination was towards this. But one very unfortunate thing happened in my life, and I would request the teachers to listen to it and not let that repeat in any of the children's life. What happens is, one day, one of our relatives, who was the collector of Trivandrum, or my home state, my hometown, came to my home, and his family was there. We were having dinner, and my mother asked him, what career should my son pursue? What course should he take after +2? Even without looking at me, even without consulting me, even without asking anything, our relative said, economics is a good subject. Why don't he can go and select economics? Suddenly, my mother started having connections. Yes, my father was working in a bank, so he would be good with economics. I was telling apprehension to my mother. I know I'm not that comfortable with economics. I'm not good in quantitative things. I'm not good in these aspects. My mother said, nothing doing. He's a collector. He's a IAS officer, so you should do what he says. He's a relative. He's meaning all good to you. So I selected economics. Later, I went to London School of Economics. But after 20 years, I realized that is not the career I want. That is not the job that gives me inspiration, satisfaction. Neeti ma'am and Gauravji was earlier telling regarding satisfaction, long-term planning. These are not things that really inspires me. Economics is a great subject, an absolutely wonderful subject, but I am not cut out for it. My core competence, my forte, my interest, my liking, my aptitude, my psychometrics is not aligned to that subject. Nearly 5 years ago, I enrolled in a law academy here for the evening course for the senior batch. I finished LLB and I enrolled in the High Court in the judiciary 6 months ago. But I should have taken this choice 20 or 22 years ago. My mother and my family and I made a wrong choice after my +2, and I literally lost 20 years of my life. I repeat, I lost 20 years of my life. Had I selected LLB when I was in school time or after +2, maybe I would have ended up as a senior gown or senior Supreme Court advocate by now. I could have pursued so many other careers. I was good with negotiation. I was good with mediation. I missed all these because of the wrong career aspects, the lack of proper career assessment, the lack of career counseling, as Mohitji was telling. I lost 20 years of my life because of those wrong decisions. And that is my best credentials to talk to you regarding the importance of career assessment and career planning. Because I not only talk from the paradigm or philosophy of career counseling, I not only talk from the aspect of knowledge or research or understanding, I talk from a lived experience of losing half of my life owing to wrong career choice. And I was nearly 35 or 36 when I started doing career assessments. And to my wonder, I discovered all those things that were of deep interest to me, that I was confused about whether I should pursue this, were the right careers before me. When I was doing the career assessment, I got law, public policy, and media, followed by 4 marketing. These were the 4 options that were on the top of my choice. And I pursued economics that was absolutely of not relevance to me. Similar mistakes do happen to everyone. Now, I would like you to take 30 seconds and introspect regarding this particular statement. Please think about this. 95% of the people around us, 95% of the people around us select the wrong course, college, career, and end up losing 4 to 5 years of our life. 95% of the people around us select the wrong course, wrong college, wrong career, and end up wasting 4 to 5 years of our productive life. What happens to a person's life? Our revenues get hit, our experience get hit, our years are being wasted, that are not being fruitful. It contributes to the lack of GDP of our entire nation in that big way. This is one of the great career crises we are having in our nation that we need to rectify. Now, there is another big challenge, especially to teachers, I would like to address. When we are losing this 4 to 5 years, we create a false defense inside us. We tell a lie to ourselves that these are all a part of growing up. We justify the losing of 4 to 5 years by telling ourselves these are all normal and natural. No, we are losing because of our lack of scientific understanding of career planning, for the lacunae, for the shortcoming of a proper career assessment and career guidance and career mentoring. We are losing years and years of our life. Many people who are supposed to be great teachers are not end up getting teachers. People who want to be business entrepreneurs are not becoming entrepreneurs. People who are supposed to be leaders are not becoming leaders. Now, let me take a very popular example, especially I believe many of the senior people are also there. India is a land which is very fascinated by cricket. We all know, the god of cricket, there is only one tag that goes to Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin's father was a famous Marathi literary figure, Ramesh Tendulkar. If Sachin's father insisted to Sachin by the a standard of 8 or 9 or 10. Beta, tu kya kar raha hai? Why are you wasting your time? Why do you take this bat and ball and always spend time on the cricket field? Why don't you study something? Why don't you write literature? Why don't you read more books and become a literary figure? Or, why don't you do a bank job? Where would Sachin end up in his life? Or Dhoni. Our late Sri Sushant Singh's movie regarding Dhoni is an absolute must-watch. There is a very emotional scene in which Dhoni's mother in that movie is telling Dhoni, work very hard. You can even earn 15,000 rupees per month. This is Dhoni's mother's advice. When he was the ticket collector, Dhoni's mother was advising him, why don't you work hard? You can even get 15,000 rupees as salary per month, was the advice given to Dhoni. But Dhoni understood God or nature, whichever name you want to call. You can call it God, you can call it destiny, you can call it nature according to your own philosophy. They have created such important uniqueness in you that you have a destiny to fulfill for you, for your family, for our nation and the world at large. And unless you understand that, you won't be able to crack it. Now, how do we understand this? It's easy to say, to understand, but how do we understand? We have to take the help of science, scientific methods, because many times it is regarding whims and fancies. Even when I was in school, when I saw a movie regarding army, I wanted to be an army man. You may remember the movie of Hrithik Roshan called Lakshya, where Hrithik says, when he sees a soldier, he says, my nation needs me here, and he wants to become a soldier. When he sees an IAS officer, he wants to become an IAS officer. When he sees a movie star, he wants to become a movie star. It's very natural. Especially teenage students from the age of 13 to 19 will have their own sort of identity crisis. They will become infatuated with so many careers. It's very natural. There is nothing wrong in it. We have all been gone through that. But what do we need? There is the relevance of teachers. There is the relevance of CBSE. There is the relevance of Media and Entertainment Council. There is the relevance of every other body who can assess them in a correct way, who can guide them in a correct way, and who can take them forward. Now, our session is divided into three aspects. One is the philosophy of it. What is the philosophy of career assessment? What is the base? What is the core? What is the theory? What is the philosophical aspect of it? Second, what is the practical application? Third, what are the important things that you need to look? I repeat, our session is of three aspects. One is the philosophy, the core, the why of career assessments. Second is the how of career assessment, how to do it, what are the things to do. Third is what are the aspects that you should take care of it. Now, I would request you to look at both these statements, and these are the statements that were told to us by our teachers when we were in school. I would request everyone, Neeti ma'am, Pooja ma'am, Gauravji, everyone to recollect our school days when we were having our teachers in school who will come to our session. Usually school sessions are 45 minutes. So teachers will take class for 30 minutes and give us gyan, advise us, mentor us for 15 minutes. This is what a good teacher will do, because teachers know the mentoring really matters. So our earlier teachers, when I was studying in school, when Mohit sir was studying in school, when Neeti ma'am was studying in school, when Gauravji was studying in school, used to come and tell us this. You have all been given the same talent. How you make use of it is the important aspect. This was the advice we used to tell our children for nearly 50 to 60 years after independence. This was the advice that was given to the global youth for nearly past 300 years. This was the paradigm philosophy of the past century. You have all been given the same talent. How you make use of it is the important thing. But teachers of today, teachers of tomorrow, great scientists and leaders like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam rightly comes and points out a different line. That line is, you have all been given different talents. How you identify and grow them really matters. Now, if you understand the difference between these two lines, I repeat, if you understand the difference between these two simple English lines, you understand 300 years of philosophy. If you understand in its holistic sense the difference between these two simple English lines, it is similar to reading two libraries, not two books. It is similar to reading two libraries. If you understand these two simple English lines, my session is over. If you understand these two simple lines, it is the difference between 20th century and 21st century. Now, let us explore it. I would request you both to think about it too. And which do you agree with? You can agree with anything. There is absolutely nothing wrong. But we will explore what modern science say. The first line, our teachers, when we were in school, used to come and tell us, you have all been given the same talent. आप सभी को एक जैसा talent मिला है. You have all been given the same talent. आप जैसे इसको इस्तेमाल करता है. How do you use it? That really matters. You have all been given 24 hours by God. How do you use it really matters. These are all good, out of good intention that they were telling. Now the modern science or the modern teacher says, you have all been given different talent. How to identify and grow them really matter. And those who are in YouTube, those who are in various spaces, I would request you to differentiate between these two lines in one word. Any word of your choice. If you can find one word, conceptual difference, paradigm shift between these two lines, what would that be? If you can summarize the difference between these two lines, what would that word be? Please think about it. And I would quote that word. Our former president, one of the most beloved leaders of India after Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, always used to say, what is the conceptual difference between these two lines is the essence of what we are talking. The earlier philosophy, the earlier paradigm was that everyone is the same. We can achieve anything we want if we work hard. Go with the trend.
Rahul sir, if I may come in, so we are getting the answers from the question that you asked. So I would like to share the answers that we are receiving.
Please, that would be great.
So the very first thing is we are getting a lot of people saying that amazing energy. A lot of people are talking about the energy that you bring, and everybody is mesmerized with the way the session is going. And to answer your questions, people are saying both are correct. Many of the people are saying both are correct, both ways of thinking. Then people are saying that the evolution has happened. So in the past, the first was correct, and today the second option is correct. And again, somebody is saying both are correct. These are the answers that you're receiving.
Thank you so much, Gauravji. Since
and we got a few comments in the chat box where people are saying it looks like you are talking about them. When you initially talked about people getting into the wrong career options. So we are getting. So I'll interrupt you time to time to share.
Please feel free to jump in, Gauravji. Because thank you for commenting on my energy. I am so passionate and energetic regarding this because I have two kids. I don't want them to lose 20 or 10 years of their life and end up regretting. I don't want anyone else to lose their life, and many of us may have lost, and it is our responsibility that the same mistake is not carried on generation to generation. We need to rectify, and we need to be the change that we want to see in the world. We need to point out to them. And there, my mother, in all the good intention, like every other mother, my mother was also very concerned regarding me. She did the correct steps, what according to her, in all the aspects that she wanted. But one philosophical issue happened. One scientific issue happened with my mother's assessment, with my mother's analysis, or my analysis too, because it was a joint decision. Our analysis went wrong regarding me. And that is what I was trying to tell. My mother used to tell me, I said, I am not very inclined to this. My mother said, put in more hours, it will all be okay. Things beta ye sahi ho jayega. Don't worry, don't bother. Yes. So these are the earlier paradigm was this. The new paradigm was this. Now let's see what are the difference in this. This is one of the greatest philosophers of mankind called Aristotle, the disciple of Plato, who was the disciple of Socrates. This is Aristotle, the father of the most number of branches of philosophy, the discipline which I come from. Aristotle used to believe, John Locke nearly 300 years used to believe that when we are born like this white paper. Many teachers who have done B.Ed will remember this particular aspect by John Locke, which is usually taught in B.Ed, called tabula rasa. John Locke believed when we are born like this white paper, kora kagas ki tarah, or blank slate. We are born like this white paper. 3 E's create us, or 3 pens create us: our education, our environment, our experience. These three E's create the individual was the understanding we had for nearly 300 years from John Locke and nearly 2,500 years from Aristotle. We are all born like this white paper or is कोरा कागज में experience, education and environment writes us. Now, this was the prevailing idea for 300 years. Now, let me ask you a question. Please do type yes or no in it, so that Gaurav ji can see. Let us take 100 students by the time of their birth. 100 students are taken exactly by the same time of their birth from a hospital. Let us create a hypothesis. Let us think about this. 100 students are taken, 100 kids are taken. They are all being given the same food, same upbringing, same uniform, same college, same school, same books, same movies, same experiences. Will they be the same by the age of 18? I'll repeat the question. Let us take 100 students. When they are born, they are given the same experiences, same books, same kind of upbringing, same kind of nurturing, same school, same college, same uniform, same movies, same all other experiences. Will they be the same by the age of 18? I'm absolutely sure 99% of you will realize that it is no. They will be varied. They will be unique. They will be different. Now, why is the question? Their all experiences are the same. They read the same books. They saw the same movies. They had the same experience. But innately, they are different. Inborn, they are different. In Indian philosophy, Vivekananda used to call it vasana. Modern science and genetics used to create psychometric tendencies. Whichever word you can use, doesn't matter. This white paper, please remember, this is the most important philosophical change, policy change in the past 100 years. For 300 years, we used to believe that we are born like this white paper. Now we realize we are not born like this white paper. We are born like different QR codes. Earlier, we used to believe that we are born like this white paper. Two scientific branches emerged in the past 100 years that began to challenge this. One is genetic engineering. Second is psychology. They began to challenge the premise that we are born like this white paper and differences, uniqueness is the core. Now, it is not to say that we cannot improve our talent. No, if we work hard, if we spend time, we can improve our talent. We can improve our skills, enhance all the aspects, maybe even create tendencies. But at the same point of time, the modern scientific consensus, scientific understanding is that people are born unique. People are born different. People are born special in their own way. So coming to the end of our first part regarding the philosophy, this is the most important realization that even resulted in many aspects of National Education Policy 2020 or policy change all over the world. In the earlier century, the philosophy, the paradigm, the idea, the worldview was that we are all born alike, equal, similar. Now in the present century, with the advancement in science, genetic science, psychology, we have evolved into a more scientific philosophy. We have started to realize, please remember, it is not that human beings are born unequal. Absolutely no. Human beings are not born equal, neither born unequal, but human beings are born unique. Human beings have their own capacities, their own differences. So remember, they are not born equal, neither born unequal. Because we have all equality, Article 14, we are all equal in the eyes of law, all the aspects are there. But from a human perspective, from a skill perspective, human beings are born unique. Their talents, their skill sets, all these aspects. And modern education is about identification of this. Second aspect. Now, I hope the philosophical aspect is clear. The basement is clear. The paradigm is clear. What
Yes,
Aristotle...
I'll share. Rahul sir, I'll share some chat, something from the chats. So there are a lot of questions. When you ask these questions, the answers were mostly no for those when you asked that question. Now we have got very interesting comments from the participants and a few questions. I think if we can answer it now itself.
Please.
The comments are that all humans are born unique, and when a child starts to create a painting, they use a lot of colors, but when they grow up, the number of colors reduce in their paintings. So that is observation by one of our participants. And then we also have one interesting one, which is it says it depends on their free will, what they do with the experience, how their interest emerge, maybe because their genes or their capabilities.
Exactly.
And first paradigm was based on unity in biodiversity among humans. And second paradigm focuses on natural attributes of living being, that is biodiversity in unity.
Absolutely. And if I can summarize all these, which are all absolutely right, in one sentence. When we were in school, Gauravji may remember, we used to have a debate, or a debate was there in our biology book called nature versus nurture. That means, which is more important in a human being? Is it nature? Is it nurture? If I used to say that it is nature, I lean more towards the right of the spectrum. If it is nurture, you lean more towards the left of the spectrum. Nature generally meant heredity, genes, genetics, lineage, all these kind of aspects. The left or the nurture argument is more behaviorism in psychology, more conditioning kind of it. So there was a huge debate in the past 300 years, especially the past 100 years of psychology, where nature versus nurture was fighting. But interesting thing is the modern consensus. They say it is not nature versus nurture. It is nature plus nurture. So, as many of them rightly pointed out, yes, there is an importance for nature. Yes, there is an importance for nurture too. But it is a dynamic combination or a complex combination of nature plus nurture that really matter. Earlier, we used to believe that only nurture mattered. Then there are other people who say only nature matters. That's also absolutely wrong. That's absolutely wrong too. Nature plus nurture intersects itself, combines itself in complex and multiple ways so that a person's skill set, ability, and life is being there. So the modern scientific consensus is nature plus nurture, and that is what we need to point out. This is the modern scientific consensus. And as many of them said, let's understand that these aspects are part of growing study of scientific knowledge, and we are in the process of understanding the history being made and a new scientific paradigm being created. That's the reason why many of you may remember, whenever Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam used to go to schools or colleges, he used to make the students stand up, put the hands in their chest, and make them say, I am unique, I will discover my uniqueness. And now a very interesting question comes that also I'll share with you, because many people were asking regarding the philosophy. I'll take 5 more minutes to explain the philosophical aspects. Can we believe that there is something unique regarding us? Apart from what all the modern studies says, is there something unique regarding us is a question. Right now, India is the largest human resource nation in the world. We have nearly 140 crore plus people in the world. And India's world's population is nearly 8 billion, or touching or surging towards 800 crore people. The total number of human beings in the history of the world, we are all Homo sapiens. In the past 2 lakh years, nearly 8,000 crore human beings were born, according to various demographic or scientific studies. Do we have any uniqueness from all those people is a question we can naturally ask. For the past 2 lakh years, for the past 8,000, or let's assume 10,000 crore people were born, lived like us, studied, got a job, married, had kids, and 2 lakh years, nearly 10,000 crore human beings happened. Do we have anything unique, absolutely fresh from all of them? Do you think so? Do we have anything unique, different, absolutely individual from all of them? Please answer so that Gauravji can also look. Do we have anything unique from the past 10,000 crore human beings who are born? Yes, no, Gauravji, what's the general sense you are getting?
Yes, the answers are genetics, birth conditioning. Show me the chats. Yes, all are born unique. DNA, and most importantly, brain capacity. Genes also matter.
Let me point out, thank you for answers. Let me point out one important thing that 10,000 crore of human beings cannot do and only I can do. Is there something like that? 10,000 crore human beings cannot do that, only a Rahul Ishwar or only a Gauravji in his own personal capacity done. You know what? my mobile phone is fingerprint locked. Even if 10,000 crore human beings are putting their fingers in my mobile, do you think it will open? If you have a face lock on your phone, do you think the next 10,000 crore human beings who are going to come, if you are going to put that across your face, will it open? On a lighter note, many of you might be seeing a lot of thriller series, crime thrillers on OTT and all. I am also a great fan of thriller movies. If my fingerprint is found in a particular space where there is a crime or murder happened, can I say, you might have found some similarity, it is not me? Will that cut the ice in the court? If my fingerprint or if my hair strand is found, I usually have slightly long hair, if my hair strand is found in a crime scene, can I say, so many people have hair, what can I do? It might be somebody else's hair. Will it be possible? God or nature creates every individual as absolutely unique individuals. Let us look at every aspect of you. May it be thumb impression, may it be retina scan, may it be your tongue print, may it be your ear scan. And many of the teachers might be surprised. No. Do you know what is the modern science's discovery regarding uniqueness? Gait, G-A-I-T. Gait means the style of walking you have. The style of walking you have is absolutely unique. That's what is featured in Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible movie. I think it was the fifth Mission Impossible movie where gait, G-A-I-T, or the style of walking is recorded. In the past 10,000 crore human beings, there has not been a human being like Gauravji or Niti ma'am or Rahul Ishwar or Mohit sir or Pooja ji or Arbaz or each one of you. You have all been given such unique genetic coding, unique thumb impression. See, that's the reason why when we go to take Aadhaar, we give biometrics, right? We give biometrics because biometrics is the identification of an individual through the physical measure. Now, what can psychometrics be? I've just pointed out what biometrics is. Biometrics is thumb impression, retina scan, our facial features. Biometrics is the identification or the unique identification of an individual through their biological features. So what can psychometrics mean? Psychometrics means the identification of an individual through their psychological traits, through their innate characteristics. This is very important for every individual. And unless we have that psychometric assessment in the good way, we won't be able to crack that. I'm very happy, beyond any other thing, or our governments, various governments across India, our educational system is right now investing a lot of energy, resources into assessment. Right now, there are a lot of schools which are developing assessments, and various governments are giving in a lot of money to these schools. I think, last time they were announcing somewhere around 16,000 crores for assessments in schools across India. Why? Without assessment, how do we assess? Now, I'll ask you a simpler question. I know my son is of the age 8. I took him to a doctor 2 days ago. He was having some fever or something. So the doctor started asking a lot of questions. Beta, aapne kya khaya? What do you have for, morning? Is it repeating? No, do you have pain here? He was using the stethoscope, touching here and there, saying, is this okay? Is your pulse okay? He was checking at the eyes. He was also asking a lot of questions regarding what he ate, how much he played, whether he was in rain, all those questions. Why is the doctor asking all these questions? Is he doing a small talk to make us comfortable? No. Doctor is doing something called a diagnosis. Doctor is doing something called diagnosing us, where our symptom is because of what is the factor, what is the cause of the symptom, why is he having this, or why is the baby having this. Similarly, a career practitioner, a medical practitioner or a doctor uses diagnosis. If his arms were having a pain, he will say, let's take something like an X-ray. Are you having a back problem? Then why don't we try MRI? Why do they do this? This is to get the accurate assessment or the accurate diagnosis. If the diagnosis is wrong, all the subsequent treatment will be wrong. I'm absolutely sure many of you might have heard of news where the assessment or the diagnosis have gone wrong and the patient got the wrong treatment and in the end suffered many things bad. Why? Diagnosis assessment, understanding, comprehending, evaluating, analyzing, whichever word you want to call, this is the first stage of anything. Just like a doctor or a medical practitioner use diagnosis and diagnostic tools, a career practitioner, a career mentor, a career coach, a career counselor uses something called career assessments. Doctor, medical practitioner, diagnosis. Career practitioner or career guide, career assessment. This is the only difference. That's the importance of career assessment. I
Sir,
was asked this.
we have a question that I feel is
Please.
related. The question is, are we saying that people who have poor genetics won't succeed in life, or will they have disadvantage at the starting point?
Absolutely no. First, I'll answer the second question. As human beings, human will is a superbly powerful tool. We can achieve the impossible by training ourselves in a deep way. But what is the importance of genetics? Second, poor genetics or not, everyone is having their own uniqueness, their own tendency. I'm absolutely sure Sachin Tendulkar is a good tennis player too. He has been to many Wimbledons too as a gallery. If he works hard, he may be able to become a good tennis player. But he became the god of cricket. If Sachin works hard, Sachin's orientation is good, he is ready to put in a lot of hours, he can definitely become a good tennis player. But with that effort, if he is putting in cricket or his niche or his area, he will become the god of cricket. Or take the example of any other movie star or cricket or important people or political leaders or educationists or business leaders or anyone. They have identified their skills in the right way. They have invested in themselves, assessed themselves, and understood that this is the path, you can say God or nature, have taken for them. So it is not about poor genetics or not, but it is nature plus nurture that really works in a human being. That's the reason why earlier it was only nurture. Now many people in the modern age go to the other extreme, saying that only nature is important. That's again wrong. Nature is important, nurture is important, education is important, our heritage is important. It's a combination of those that will really help. And right now, coming to understanding how the nature and nurture plays, there comes the relevance of career assessment. And if you can take one line in your memory after this session, that line would be this: doctor, diagnostics; career practitioner, career assessment, nothing else. That is the importance of career assessment. If the diagnosis of the doctor goes wrong, he ends up treating the wrong disease. If the assessment of the career practitioner goes wrong, you end up spoiling or challenging the life of an individual for years altogether. Unfortunately, in one way or the other, that's what happened to me. My particular relative, out of good interest, at that point of time, economics was considered a very vibrant subject. It is still a very vibrant subject. But no, his assessment regarding my interest, or not asking me or not inquiring into my aptitude, you can call it various words. You can call it aptitude, you can call it talent, you can call it psychometrics, you can call it anything you want. But the core is, we have such a kind of psychometric tendency. Now I'll come to the second part. The philosophical aspect, we have dealt with the philosophy of uniqueness, individual identification, assessment, diagnosis is important. Now we will come to what career assessment is. Right now, India is in a cusp. We are in a transition stage. We are evolving into a more universally applicable new philosophy. That's the reason why these kind of sessions are also being arranged in a big way. Now, what is career assessment? Career assessment is a process that will help individuals clarify, understand their goals and values, explore various career options. I might not only be good at one thing, I might be good in 2 or 3 things out of other 50 things. So my selection should be limited to this 2, 3 or 4 options, not the other options. Everyone has something called a fitment towards a career. Fitment means the suitability towards a career, the alignment towards a career. We might be aligned because of our personality, education, knowledge, not only to one career, to 3 or 4 careers. Out of hundreds of careers, first we should zero in to these 3 or 4 careers. Then what we need to do is select the track. So explore career options. And like Gauravji in the introduction rightly said, make informed decisions. That's the most important thing. I made a decision too, but that was not an informed decision. That was an uninformed decision, unintelligent decision, which lost 20 years of my life. But I was happy that I could get introduced into the world of assessment, and I could take the assessment, and I took the extra effort after my first child's birth. It was very tough. My family, I had to go to the evening class. I was working in a company. I was salaried. Then I had to go in the evenings. I took that extra effort because I was convinced, yes, this is a good path. It was not merely an infatuation. It was a scientific understanding that I will excel in this particular field, that I decided to take the plunge, decided to take that conviction so that I could make that informed decision. And career assessment may be necessary in all stages of one life. I would request all the people who are hearing, whether they are young, whether they are elders, whether they are teachers, to definitely try out various career assessments. Those career assessments will help us in improving our present performance too. My career fitment, for example, regarding myself, my career fitment to law or LLB or judicial fields is somewhere around 96. My career fitment to teaching is somewhere around 93 or 94. My career assessment to public policy is around 89 to 90. So all these careers are good for me. Then I can take an informed decision. And I was surprised to find out my career fitment to economics was hardly in my 40% or 42%. So imagine the enormity of the wrong decision that I have taken. This is not even 50% suited for me, and I have taken an absolutely wrong decision. So career assessment will be necessary at every point of our time. Now, let's see the how of it. The role of career assessment in career planning. What are assessments? Assessments are used to help our students and clients learn more about their interest, values, and skills. This is not mere common sense. This is a matter of discovery. This is not mere bubbling up infatuation or passion regarding an interest. This is where we find out what is our persistent passion, what is our consistent passion, what is the in-depth passion of our soul, our core, our spirit, or whichever word you want to use. Assessment instruments will help our people understand their career needs and possibilities to make well-informed, intelligent decisions regarding their future. And career assessment is a process, not just a product. It's not a one-time thing. It's a process of a self-discovery that we need to have. And this plays an important role in this process by orienting our students, clients, teachers to the assessment procedures. Answering the questions about the purpose-specific instrument. This is called an instrument. When you use a particular aspect, it's called an instrument. Following through to help them to use these results to explore and make decisions about careers suggested by the results. This is the role of career assessment in career planning. Understand a person's core, behavior, interest, their values, their skill, their attitude, their tendencies, their self. Process of self-discovery. And this is how we need to have. And these are some of the terms you should be introduced to when we are doing these kind of assessments. One is assessment. What is an assessment? Assessment is the administration of many types of instruments. And what is an instrument? A general term that includes both tests and inventories. That's called instruments. And what is a test? Test is the generally applied to the scientifically developed instrument that measures ability, achievement. Test is ability or achievement. Test is not an exam. Test is more of understanding and measuring of ability and achievement. And please remember, 21st century is also owes its a lot of the advancement to the field of management. And management is measurement to a very large scale. Management is measurement to a very large scale. And these tests are very important. And inventory is another term which we should be familiar with. Inventory means it's a less formal questionnaire that is designed to help an individual learn more about themselves. There are not right answers or wrong answers. It is more about discovering themselves, understanding themselves, more about exploring themselves. So these are some of the general jargon, general terms that are associated with it. Assessment, instruments, test, and inventory. Now, this is a bit dry and theoretical aspect. I'll just take it so that you will have a philosophical understanding to it. There are theories regarding it, and there is an assessment regarding it. Theories are an attempt to explain the factors involved in career planning process. There are various theories that are used, like Holland's theory. There are various theories that can be used. You only need to learn it in the next stage of it. But there are various theoretical, philosophical aspects, and assessments are the bridges of them to the practice, to the actual practice of career practicing. There are various guidelines for selecting and using assessments. These are the various guidelines that needs to be. What is the right assessment that you need to know? How do you give an assessment to a person? These are all in-depth aspects of how do you administer a kind of assessment to a student. It can be a student, it can be a teacher, it can be a client, it can be a senior person. These are some of the aspects. These are the 10 questions that you need to ask why do you need to apply these instruments, or what instruments will be the most appropriate regarding the cost effectiveness, regarding the target audience, how the results are going to be used, what are the psychometric properties of the instrument, the validation, the reliability, and all the aspects of it. What are the formats? How do you interpret this data? That is very important. Information, and how do you interpretation of that particular data? What is the format to be given to the student? How do they understand? And please remember, there comes the very important aspects of assessment. We never speak in a negative language. We will never tell a student that you cannot become this. We will only tell a student that you can achieve anything, but if you try in this field, you will achieve more. Always the use of positive reinforcement or a positive language is used. No negativity is told. No limitation is set. No psychological barrier is set. But more of a push, a leaning, and inspiration to those aspects where they can perform better. And documentation of it. These are some of the aspects that needs to be given. And there are also some pitfalls of career planning. Assessment instruments are extremely important, but over dependence on them shouldn't be there. These are all AI powered. Modern, many of the assessments are artificial intelligence powered, machine powered things. You need to have a very important aspect called artificial intelligence plus human inspiration. Please remember, it is not a machine thing alone. It is not a mechanical thing alone. You need to have definitely artificial intelligence. You need to have definitely all the support from the cyber world, the digital world. But at the end of it, it's a soulful endeavor. It's a spirit's endeavor. It's a heart's endeavor. So it's artificial intelligence plus human inspiration that really matters. And when you go deep into the world of career assessment, we will learn how to interpret what are the appropriate and inappropriate use. How do you prepare the student or client for this? So these are some of the aspects that we take when we deal with the career assessment. And now we will see, I have 10 more slides. So are there any questions? Should I address any questions, Gauravji? If there are, we'll address that. Then we will go to the last aspect.
Certainly, sir. There are a lot of questions. I'll have to skip all these questions because we won't be able to finish it in 24 hours also.
Yeah.
So I'll go to some questions which are a little different. And mostly what we are getting is people are already looking forward to having multiple sessions. Please arrange more sessions. This is a wonderful session, and very, very positive comments coming in from everyone. And now the first question I can see is, can career assessment be done by teachers or parents? Generally, it becomes very costly affair when parents go to counselors. Everybody cannot afford it. So can the teachers or the parents do a career counseling?
I believe this is a very profound question. And let me point out, there is the importance of one of the very important aspects we always say, teacher as a career coach. A teacher should evolve into a career coach. Now, let me be very open, blunt regarding this. Right now, what's happening in India is in the upper middle class space or the aspirational middle class space, in the urban areas, in the city centers, students or parents of the students who are of the age from 8th standard to 12th standard, because they have money in their hand, they may take their children, they may take the students to a career counselor. They will give some kind of an assessment to them, say that they usually charge from 1,500 rupees to 5,000 rupees according to various cities and all, and they do this. But unfortunately, the issue is this is a very mechanical process, and the career guide hardly gets to spend 1 hour or 30 minutes with the students. Now, my proposition, my request to CBSE too, why can't our teachers become career coaches too? Teachers, one, can give information. Teachers as a career coach can give transformation too. So the teacher will definitely be equipped more because there is a continuous evaluation happening. There is a continuous assessment happening. When teacher is empowered through artificial intelligence powered psychometrics, teacher will be able to interpret the data in a deeper way. Teacher will be able to understand the student in a deeper way. So my submission is the next stage of teaching is mentoring and coaching. Teaching is an absolutely wonderful thing. There are 5 stages of conveying of information we usually say. One is talking, one is teaching, one is training, one is mentoring, one is coaching. These are usually called the 5 stages. Talking means you can talk to thousands of people in a class. That doesn't matter. You can talk as a public speaking or a talker, which many of our people do, leaders do. More specific is teaching, where there's a particular topic, you know the audience in front of you, you are fine-tuning your content to it. That is teaching. More fine-tuning is training, where personal attention is given to the student. The upskilling of the student happen. So from talking to teaching to training. Now a more focused aspect happens called mentoring, where the student innate abilities are understood, personal mentoring is given, and the final level is coaching. Coaching means, even right now the Indian cricket team is having a coach. Many of you might have seen in recent times where, 2 of our former players, Rahul Dravid, Mr. Dependable, Gautam Gambhir, they are all, trying to be the coach of Indian team. Why? And doesn't Virat Kohli know how to hold a bat? Obviously he does. He has scored so many centuries. And Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma plays so well. And the coach who is coming is not a great batsman like themselves. The coach who may be coming may not be a great bowler. But what is the relevance of a coach? A coach understands the individual. Coach understand the person who is in front of him. Try to fulfill the potential according to that person. So that's the importance of coaching. Now coming to it, yes, as many of you said, right now it's a costly affair. That's the space of CBSE. That's the space of our Media and Entertainment Council, where you upgrade our teachers. Let our teachers evolve also to coaches, life mentors. It will be very good. And let me share one experience, Gauravji, when I was studying in my 7th standard. When I was a very inquisitive child, I was a doubting Thomas. I kept on asking questions. So nearly 30 years back, I went and asked my teacher, which is the lengthiest word in English language? I had this doubt, which is the lengthiest word in English language. At that point of time, Google was not there, ChatGPT was not there, internet was not there. And the only source was the teacher. I went and asked her, which is the lengthiest word. My teacher kept on looking at me for some time and asked me, will this question come for the year-end exam? I said, no, teacher. So don't bother about these things. You will naturally understand, was the answer that she gave. No offense there. I took 3 weeks to find this answer 30 years ago. The longest word in English is the name of a disease called pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. The longest or the lengthiest word in normal English or technical English is pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. The lengthiest word in normal English is floccinaucinihilifilification. There is another word which many of you may remember. It is the usage of Shakespeare in Love's Labour's Lost, which says honorificabilitudinitatibus, which only means honorableness. Now, my next question is very crucial. 30 years back, I took 3 weeks to find these words. 30 years back, I took 3 weeks to find these words. Now, all of you who are listening, if you just want to cross-check whether what I told is right, if the children of today just wants to know which is the lengthiest word in English, how long will they take? 3 seconds? Just take the mobile, Google, or ask ChatGPT. Just go to the voice ChatGPT, ask them which is the lengthiest word in English. The answers are there. 30 years back, I took the pain of 3 weeks going and consulting to libraries, referring various books, asking so many people. So in the past 30 years, my 3-week search got reduced to a 3-second search. 30 years back, my 3 weeks research got reduced to a 3-second search for our students. So information alone is not enough. Teacher gives information, whereas the modern teacher, mentor, coach should also give transformation. Teaching is about informing and transforming. Teacher gives information, and the modern teacher, mentor, coach inspires transformation in an individual. And that transformation is what we should aim. How? How do we do that? Many teachers, by the grace of God, because they are great teachers right now, they have the ability to instinctively understand, by gut, by hunch, understand our students. That's great. But please remember, it can only be applied to 5 students, 10 students. When you are powered with artificial intelligence, when you are powered with scientific apps, when you are powered with psychometric assessment, you can use these assessments to understand the individual. And if a teacher is doing it, teacher can cross-check it with her experience, his experience regarding the student, and interpret the data in a much more big way. So let me conclude my answer in one more line. Rather than going to an outside coach, paying them 1,000 rupees to 5,000 rupees, I believe CBSE, Media and Entertainment Council should all think of teacher as a career coach. When teacher as a mentor, teacher being powered by AI, teacher being powered by assessment, teacher also as an assessment mentor coach, so that all the students can be benefited with very affordable aspects too. So this is one thing I believe our system should do, so that the teachers will rightly pave the way for the next 50 years of their life. Modern psychology says there are 2 major age groups in our life. The first one is below the age of 3, when our brain cells are getting set, when the basis of language, relationship, world, father, mother are all being founded. That is the age of 3. The second most important age is the end of teenage, or especially the ages of 17, 18, 19, where we select a course. This career trajectory will virtually decide next 50 years of our life. This career trajectory will virtually decide next 50 years of our life. So imagine the importance of aspect we are dealing with. When we are dealing with a 17-year-old child, when we are dealing with an 18-year-old child who is coming to ask us, what should I do in life? Which course should I join? Which college should I go? You are in effect deciding half a century of his or her own next life. Now imagine the importance in our nation scheme. As we all know, we are one of the youngest nations in the world. Factually speaking, or technically speaking, Africa may be slightly more younger than us, but on the larger scale, India is one of the youngest nations in the world, and the next 50 years, our demographic dividend is going to decide the workforce of the entire world, not only India. That's the reason why European nations wants to take a lot of people from India for their job. People in America, you might be knowing Silicon Valley. I study there in California. Silicon Valley is virtually populated with Indians everywhere. You go there, you see an Indian at every junction. All the CEOs are all the CEOs, top-notch people, including of the top companies, are Indians. We should be proud of it. Our system has created them. And our system right now should elevate, uplift, upgrade itself to the next level, because changes are also happening. Let me point out just one example and take the next question too. Many of us may be familiar with, Gauravji, the earlier Nokia 3310, right? You may remember 10 to 15 years back, we had a wonderful mobile called Nokia 3310. No, at that point of time, I remember the cost was 6,500 rupees. I bought that in Kerala. My mother gifted it to me. Nokia were the world leaders. What happened to Nokia? Now, I doubt whether any one of us listening, maybe thousands of people, not even one may be having a Nokia. Nokia was virtually the market leader with nearly 60 to 70% market share of it. I was in Finland last year. I know, as a part of Startup Mission and Startup India, I went there as a part of selected delegation. So I went to the Nokia office and all. Nokia realizes that they made a mistake. They forgot to innovate and move ahead with times. Then came BlackBerry. Many of us may remember, BlackBerry was the phone of American president. Barack Obama used to use BlackBerry. And many of you may remember, it is easy to send emails in BlackBerry was the popular thing that said. What happened to BlackBerry? It also didn't kept with the evolution or the fast moving. At that point of time, the Android phones, the various app-wala phones or the touchscreens were becoming popular, and they forgot to evolve themselves. We were our earlier education system are having some of the wonderful features, but we should continuously uplift, upgrade, upskill oneself. And what is the greatest skill? What is the most important skill needed in the 21st century? Many of us may say communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. These are all true. But what is the most important skill that anyone needs to have in 21st century? Whether you are a teacher, whether you are a student, whether you are a corporate professional like me, whether you are a faculty, the most important skill in 21st century is the ability to upskill oneself. The most important skill in 21st century is the ability to upskill oneself. You need to continuously adapt. And I'll tell a just quick example too. Nearly 6 to 8 months back, our company decided to hire a content writer. He was, the salary was, we were giving around 50 to 55,000 rupees was the salary. Nearly 8 months back, we decided that we are going to have somebody like a content writer. Then a huge revolution happened called ChatGPT. Now that field itself is virtually getting out. We decided we will ourselves do with the help of ChatGPT. Why? Because earlier a content writer used to have this kind of job, or working in media. I used to write columns for various national dailies, including Times of India, The Hindu, or Indian Express, or various other papers. Earlier, I used to get 1 week to write a column or 1 week to write a good piece. Right now, they will be asking, why don't you give it in 1 or 2 days? We need to have urgency. So I need to take the help of AI. But please remember, it is not mechanical. AI is a soulless thing. Only we have soul or a spirit. We need to take the help of artificial intelligence and use it and put our prana, put our soul, or put our core energy into it. That's the reason why we always say AI will not replace us. AI will not replace teachers. AI will not replace jobs. But please remember, a person who knows AI better will replace us. Please remember this. AI will not replace humans, but a human who knows AI better will replace us, because he will be able to do it in a much more efficient way. So to conclude the answer, yes, teachers need to be career coaches so that it can be affordable, it can be universal, it can reach to any person, and over commercialization and exploitation doesn't happen. Whereas teachers will also have a sort of positive aspect to it, positive contribution to it. The students and parents will also. And please remember, parents will also trust the teachers more. Teachers will know the student more. The student will trust the entire process more rather than going to some random counselor outside the school. So that would be my answer. Any other questions, Gauravji? Please.
Certainly, sir. I mean, when you talked about AI, I just remembered one line by an AI expert that AI cannot do what no human has done before. Only a human can do what no human has done before.
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful to use AI for counseling purposes.
And just one line supplement to you, Gauravji. As Gauravji rightly said, AI is only doing what human brain has conceived. And please remember, even artificial intelligence is a human creation. Even artificial intelligence is a human creation. So our brain has that great power, but we need to take the help of AI. That's the reason why we need to incorporate technology. One of the greatest aspects of India in our 5,000 years history is we have never shown a door to a scientist. We have never been anti-science. We have never been anti-technology. We also have a lot of issues in our past regarding many of the aspects, social aspects we have. But one good thing, apart from the West, in the West, many times scientists were persecuted. But in India, no scientist was ever persecuted. We used to respect them, calling them rishis. We used to respect them, calling them philosophers or darshanikas. So, aspect of science integrating, open-mindedness towards science and technology has been a hallmark of Indian civilization. And we need to carry it forward too. That is the right aspect. So, AI we should integrate, not at the cost of human inspiration plus artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence plus human inspiration is the way ahead, even for career coaching, career counseling, and career mentoring. Yes, sir. Any other interesting?
Yes, sir. I now have a very serious question, and I think you're the best person to answer that. The question is how the career assessment of students with disabilities can be done.
Very true. There are various inventories, there are various assessments that are suited to different people. For example, some students may be having an issue in comprehending questions, understanding questions. So the results may be different. So for the differently abled or various aspects, psychologically differently abled and the other differently abled, there are various inventories, there are various discoveries. That's a subject of another session, but there is those kind of assessment which will cater to your need, which will cater to those people's need too. That's the reason why one particular shortcoming in any aspect, we shouldn't be defining the child or stereotyping the child. That's the reason why when you interpret, even when you communicate, the positive language or the positive reinforcement is very important. So as the question goes, yes, there are various inventories which are less formal questionnaires, various assessments and tests which is suited to various people, and these can be used. And maybe in a subsequent session or one thing, we can also see to various sessions. I have not taken the personal names because I was not sure whether we can introduce the names of these assessments. That's the reason why, yes, there are other assessments which can cater to this.
So another question is, teachers, basically, I am rephrasing the question. The question basically talks about how can teachers guide the parents, because they have a very short interaction with the parents during the parent-teacher meet. So how can teacher make the parents aware in that short amount of time that the parents are the ones who have very good impact on a child when it comes to counseling? So
Absolutely.
please, if you can guide regarding that.
2 lines. The first line, please introduce the word psychometrics. Even in NEP, even in the national level, that word is popularly used. And when you use the word psychometrics, please connect it to the word biometrics so that they will be able to understand in a deeper way. Many times parents, to be honest, even me as a parent, we want our unfulfilled desires to be fulfilled by our children. That's very natural. My mother studied singing for 20 years. She even had a kacheri or a very large singing concert with Eshudas, who is a very popular singer in a national level. So my mother wanted me to be a singer, and I studied singing for 3 years. Now I'm telling you the truth, I'm a tone deaf person. That means whenever somebody sings, I don't understand the difference of pitch that happens. I'm not telling this as a story. This is my actual living experience. I don't understand the tonal difference, especially in songs. Even if I study singing for 50 years or 100 years, I am never going to even make it to the school choir. But my mother was trying to fulfill her desire through me, which is very natural. Even I'll be doing that with my son. But we should make our parents realize that our students or their children are unique and they need to fulfill their own destinies. Now, how is a question? If my teacher had told my mother that Rahul Ishwar is not suited for economics, my mother would have instinctively said, no, teacher, a senior IAS person said he is good for economics, he can go. So naturally, the mother will be biased or the father will be biased. There comes the relevance of assessment, so that you have a document, you have a data, you have a report through which they can be convinced, a diagnosis report of the student where the parent can read, parent can reason out, parent can understand these and these are the reasons that my child may not excel going to an engineer, but may excel going to a lawyer. My child may not excel in a lawyer, but may be becoming a good journalist. My daughter may not become a good journalist, but she may become a scientist. So unless you have a document, our parents, this is called defense mechanism. Our parents will naturally go to a defense mechanism by telling, beta, beti, tu syada pad. No, tu isme syada dhyan laga, syada time laga. It will automatically become good. It doesn't work like that. It may work. They may be able to get 50 marks, 60 marks out of 100. But that is not what we are doing. Even in our constitution, in fundamental duties, there is one particular word that we should strive for excellence. See, we are not creating moderate, mediocre people or people who are less excellent. Everyone has a unique potential to be excellent, and it is a constitutional obligation upon us in our fundamental duties that we should strive for excellence. I may be able to become a good, average economic professor or kind of a good economist. Maybe if I can a 50 out of 100 economist, a 60 out of 100 economist, if I try and put my heart and soul to it. But I may be able to become a 90 out of 100 lawyer if that same effort is put in the right place. That's the great difference. Please remember, if I really work hard, if I really put all my effort, I may be able to become a 5 out of 10 or 50 out of 100 economist. Because the basic intelligence is there, the basic understanding is there. My scores were around 74 or 75% for my graduation in economics. But if I put the same energy, the same effort, the same passion in the field of law or public policy or teaching or media, I will be able to become a 9 out of 10 or a 90 out of 100%. So what do we want our children to become? Do we want our children to become 5 out of 10 people? Do we want our children to become mediocre people? Or do we want our children and students to become excellence or excellent people? And it is not only obligatory to them, it's constitutionally our duty to produce excellence. And I would like to conclude this answer by telling one thing. All the people we right now talk about are people of excellence. We speak about Sundar Pichai because he's excellent. Had Sachin, many of you, now I'm taking the example of Sachin, assuming that many of the people are elderly people, not the Virat Kohli generation, but more of the Sachin Tendulkar generation too, where we have grown up. Sachin wanted to be a fast bowler. Many of you will be surprised to know Sachin never wanted to be a batsman. Sachin wanted to be a fast bowler, and the then Madras MRF Academy, he went and joined to become a fast bowler. There comes the relevance of a guru or assessor or teacher or a coach or a mentor. Dennis Lilly told Sachin, Beta Sachin, I doubt whether you will be able to become a great fast bowler like Kapil Dev or a Malcolm Marshall or an Alan Donald or a McGrath, any or McDermott or of that age. If you focus, your hand-eye coordination is good. If you focus on batting, you may be able to become a great person. There comes the importance of a coach. There comes the importance of a mentor. And there comes the importance of a person who can guide. Now, if Sachin really persisted and Sachin said, or Sachin's family said, no, I will only become a bowler, Sachin would have become a second-class bowler in a third-class team somewhere in Bombay, and he would have been playing for some bank anonymously, bowling the fast overs. Sachin identified his core, his forte, his USP, unique selling proposition, or niche, or whichever word you want to call. You can call it aptitude, you can call it talent, you can call it core zone, you can call it spirit. See, the only difference between various schools and philosophies is the words they use. No, the terminology may be different. The soul is the same thing. The core is the same thing. Somebody calls it talent. Somebody calls it core skill. Somebody calls it forte. Somebody calls it USP. Somebody calls it uniqueness. You can call any word you want. That doesn't matter. But understanding that aspect is the most important thing. And where you have to become Dennis Lillies for the future Sachins in every field. That Sachin may go on to become a scientist. Some Sachin may go on to become a footballer. Some Sachin may go on to become an Abdul Kalam. Some Sachin may go on to become a president. Some, any other matter. So guiding that person in the right matter is the way ahead. Yes, sir. Gauravji.
Yes, sir. We can continue if there is anything in the...
Yes, definitely. Yes. I'll just... Now, is it visible?
Yes, I can see that.
1 second. I'll again share it because it is not. Yes. Now, can you see this? I hope.
Yes, you can see that. Right.
Now, this is again technical aspect. I just wanted you to be familiarized with this paradigm. That's the reason why these technical aspects are also being given. How are the assessment instruments used? They are basically used for career exploration, career decision making, educational planning, and career adjustments. These are world over the standard aspects of assessments. One is career exploration, career decision making, educational planning, and career adjustment. These are the 4 basic uses of assessment instruments in our career development. Please go through this. This is an international, this is a global level curriculum or global level syllabus that we have taken. Now, again, there are formal assessments and informal assessments. These are the overview of the factors in a formal assessment, which are the type of assessment to use. The administration time is very important. It's ideal to keep it less than 1 hour, 40 minutes to 1 hour, especially in the Indian context. They are very good. The type of scores, the levels of difficulty, and the credentials to administer. This is fast emerging as a very important area that needs expertise and expert study. Right now, I myself, we are collaborating as an organization with various state governments, Management Institute Finland, University of Dubai, and Golden Gate University USA for improving the quality of assessments or how to become better assessor of things. These are the major categories of formal assessments. These are some technical things you just need to be familiarized with. There are interest inventories. How do you understand the interest? Ability test, skill inventories, work value inventories, personality, individuality inventories, career beliefs and thought inventories, career maturity inventories. These are some of the inventories that are globally accepted and used in a big way. And there are some informal assessments too. These are all consciously or unconsciously done by many of us when we are helping out of students. Group discussions, interviews, observation of skills being demonstrated. Teachers may be, in their classrooms, teachers may be telling, hey, he speaks really well. Arey yaar, wo bacha bahut sahi tarah ki baat karta hai. So these are, he may become a good articulator. That girl really writes well. Her precision in writing is superb. These are observations of the skills being demonstrated by the students. There are a lot of informal assessments too. So we need to be familiar with both. But there are some issues with informal assessments. They are kind of subjective. They sometimes, when we use more structured methods, they will need time to administer and very thoughtful interpretation should be given. So our submission to you is informal assessments are good, but more structured and formal assessments needs to be the more important aspect. And I would like to end by pointing this out. Formal assessments are standardized and structured. Their validity, reliability is tested, their bias is reduced, and additional training is required to do these kind of assessments. So my humble request to CBSE and Media and Entertainment Council is we need to introduce our teachers to the formal assessment structures where AI-powered things can be there. It can be a 6-hour session, can be a 12-hour session, can be a 25-hour session according to the need and requirement. This is simply pointing out the importance. But how do you administer an assessment? The practical experience of it. And after getting data, how do you analyze it? How do you interpret it? So formal assessments are very important when you come to this. So these are some of the aspects that you need to go. And I would like to end by pointing out, since we are coming to the last phase of it. Can you see this? Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. So these are the 7 steps, scientific steps that we usually do in a global scale when international career practitioners do these things that we follow. 1, we determine whether the assessment would be helpful to the student, client, or teacher. Select the instrument which is best suited to understand. For example, if you are exploring passion, mid-career or career inventory, if they are going after +2, if they are going after degree, there are various kinds of assessment. Then there is an introduction into the assessment for the student. How do you introduce this? How do you administer the assessment? How do you interpret and use the results? You also maintain the records for future verifiability, validity, and we practice it according to our competency level. And I would like to end my session before the question answers by saying, why should we do all this? What is the point of doing career assessment? What is the point of all this? The point of all this is to find the right careers and the right jobs for us. And why should we find the right job? Because only that right career will enhance us, our family. It will help us what Harvard University rightly called human flourishing. Survival is just one thing, but we as human beings should be flourishing. The samarthi or the vritti of human beings should happen. So in order to flourish, in order to thrive, we need to have these kind of aspects. The personal fulfillment, the meaning, the happiness of all these things. It lets you use your innate strength that comes naturally to you. All these aspects to do. And maybe 10 years later, maybe 20 years later, when this is the last slide I'm going to present, our students are looking back in their life. if they are not finding this, then it is partially our responsibility too, I would say. 20 years back, because of the wrong step I took at that point of time, these were the things that I may be missing out. If we are wrongly guiding our students, that 20 years later, they may be facing this. And what are the 6 points they may be facing? They may not be looking forward to going to work. अरे यार जरूर वर्क करना है, EMI तो भरना है. This is the attitude we will have. I mean, EMIs are very important. Revenue is very important, but we are not only working for the salary, we are working for happiness, fulfillment, meaning, and purpose. Second, we feel energized most of the time by what we do. I never felt energized by what I studied or what I was trying to do, because that was not my forte. There might be 100 people who might be excellently doing that particular field, but my choice was wrong. So I never felt energetic. I never felt excited. I never felt empowered. And when our contribution, unique aspects is appreciated and respected, then we need to find our ideal job. And if we feel proud when we're describing work to others, you feel happy about it. I feel so proud telling about my failure and wasting 20 years of my lifetime. Why? Because I believe there is a meaning to it. And it may inspire hundreds or thousands of other people to search the right career. And see, just can I point out one thing to you? Before going to a movie, many of you may take Google and at least read 2 or 3 reviews of it. We are hardly spending 100 rupees or 200 rupees on a movie, and we are reviewing hardly 3 or 4. We are saying, yeah, film compare ne kaha hai, yes channel ne kaha hai, all these kind of things we do. Before going to 50 years of our life and career, do we ever do a career review? Do we ever do some kind of a review or understanding of all these? Many people don't do. I never did so. That's the reason why I lost out. So you need to be pointing out these aspects and create a great future for our students. And I would like to end by saying, India is in a very unique position in our history, perhaps after centuries of slavery. We are again becoming a dominant player in the global field, where our students are respected, where our human resource is respected, where various nations, including the European nations, including nations like Japan, including USA, Silicon Valleys, are coming to our children so that they can become Indian global citizens. We need to let our students flourish, not only in the field of IT, every other field, whether they are IT, whether they are engineers, whether they are healthcare professionals, whether they are new innovators, whether they are entrepreneurs, whether they are problem solvers, whether they are teachers, whether they are mentors. So we need to flourish and properly work out with our human resource so that they can do such great aspects and become great citizens for not only our nation, but humanity at large. And the next 25 to 30 years is going to be very crucial time of our history, because our demographic dividend is going to peak at the right time. Our students are going to be employed world over, and they will bring back rich India global connect in a big way. I hope we being facilitators, mentors, counselors, teachers, coaches will be able to identify those unique gems so that they can craft and create their unique history, so that their contribution to the world will be that much special. So any further questions, please go ahead. We will take them and we will call it a day.
Certainly, I mean, that's not a question of any question. There are hundreds and hundreds of questions. Lot of people looking forward to more sessions, and when I'm searching for questions, all I'm getting is excellent session, relatable topic. Everything was explained very good. I was looking forward to the session, and this is better than what we expected. And the question is, what is all basic psychometric assessment that would be fruitful, which can be conveyed to the parents for young children? So I think when they say young children, they are talking about class 6 or below class 6. So what parents can do?
Just one thing to connect to us too, especially regarding CBSE and India. Please remember this. You will be surprised to know, back in 1890s, one of the first person who globally rooted these ideas. Now, two aspects, two strands of thought emerged. It emerged in the University of Cambridge, where people like William Wundt, Charles Darwin emerged as an academic discipline of psychometry. which was later taken up by the disciple of Sigmund Freud, Carl Gustav Jung, in a big way. Some of you may have heard something like Myers-Briggs type indicator, MBTI, various types. हमने भी सुना है कि न्यू जनरेशन का लड़का और लड़की हमेशा ये कहते हैं कि ये मेरा टाइप नहीं है. You are not my type. Many people use. So these type kind of words were popularized that. The other strand of thought, you will be surprised to know, was popularized in a big way in 1890s in West by a very young Indian philosopher called Vivekananda. Vivekananda, during his trip to the West, especially in 1893s and later 1900s, popularized the various aspects of Indian philosophy by saying people can be categorized into different aspects. He used to call it bhakti, jnana, dhyana, and karma. There are various aspects of an individual. So always there has been this kind of psychometric categorization for at least the past 100 or 120 years. That's one. Second, there are various instruments. I don't know whether I am allowed to tell the name of some instruments because I was given an instruction that we shouldn't
In fact, sir, there are questions. So basically, teachers are asking about if there are any reliable books that we can go through to learn more about psychometric tests and tools which are used for career counseling. So if there are any books, if you can recommend.
Yeah, definitely. If I
some resource available online or some speaker that you want somebody to follow so that they gain, because I think a lot of people are motivated here, they want to pick it up. So the what you were saying in the beginning, so it's the same.
Let me be blunt and 100% honest with this. One of the most foundational knowledge for a human life is the understand of psychometrics. You can call it psychometrics, you can call it personality types, you can call it individuality kinds, you can call any word you want. But the core premise of the entire thing is we are not born like this white paper, and people vary. Personalities vary. Individualities vary, and understanding of individual cannot be an oversimplified tabula rasa. This is the core knowledge that we should have. And Steven Pinker, one of a fascinating author called Steven Pinker. His books are subscribed by people like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg to a great. Steven Pinker, he has written an epoch-making book called The Blank Slate. I don't know how many of you have heard about it. Steven Pinker, he's a Canadian cognitive psychologist and psycholinguist. Steven Pinker is an absolutely marvelous person that you can definitely explore, from a modern scientific point of view. And let me caution one more thing too. Let me caution everyone in the group regarding that aspect, because it is only I have also texted you that particular name. It's a growing area. So there are a lot of pseudo-scientific, proto-scientific gibberish that is also going on in this area. So you should be able to learn it from reliable sources and trustable sources. See, it's a science too. It is an empirically verifiable, validating science. Mere common sense or mere philosophical approach won't suffice or won't be enough. That's the reason why you need to take the help of science, experiment, falsification methods, all the reliability yardsticks that the modern science say. It is not simply expounding a philosophy. Rather, it's a matter of psychology and scientific measurement. So philosophical gyan is okay. Sometimes many of us get trapped in that philosophical gyan, which may be fascinating for us. Yes, that philosophy is the base. Nobody is denying that. But more precise philosophy or concrete philosophy should be there. So Steven Pinker, who is a Canadian cognitive psychologist, who is a good person to start with. And there are modern psychometricians. For example, MBTI, Myers-Briggs type indicator. Even though it is a bit old, MBTI is a bit old system that is being used, but for historical value, it is considered. Lifeology, we have developed that career assessment test, which was awarded the Guinness World Record. They also verified the test. That achievement is in largest career assessment test worldwide. Please search Lifeology and Guinness, you will get it. There are various other inventories, which is very popular. This is not extraordinary costly too. But understanding of this is extremely important. Now, let me point out one more thing. This is not only important for career analysis. This is not only important for career guidance. This is important for our personal life too. Because our husband, our wife, our child, our mother, our father, our colleagues will all be of various personality types. Unless we understand, we will never be able to crack that in a meaningful way. Let me point out my own case. I am a person, usually there are 4 personality type, which is called fact, action, concept, emotion. Fact people are people who are more disciplined, methodical, thorough, who are deep into things, who are analysis skills are very high. Action oriented people are people who gets more meaning from doing things, acting, organizing. They are the action oriented people. There are some people who are C people or the concept oriented people who are imaginative, creative, slightly introverted, thinking about things, finding new concepts, innovation. There are E kind of people called emotion people who are more into emotion, connecting people, forging bonds, collaborating more. All these 4 will be inside us. It will be a score of somewhere around 20, 30, 20, 20. For example, 25, 25 or 20, 30. These are the various scores. I am a person, according to psychometrics, a concept action person called CA personality. Predominantly, this is my primary trait. I know Praveen Parameshwar, who's a good friend of mine, which Niti ma'am knows, Mohit sir knows, is predominantly a fact concept person. We will inevitably have conflicts. Because Praveen is a person who is more interested in analysis. I'm a person who is more interested in action. Praveen says, let us finalize, think, propose, study, research, then act. I will say, let us act, find out flaws, experiment, then create the document. If I don't realize this, I'll end up having animosity with Praveen. If I don't realize psychometrics, what happens? Praveen will always think I am doing things so fast. I am not preparing enough. I am doing things out of more of a gut feeling. I will feel Praveen is a person who is always into analysis. He never takes any action. He's an armchair philosopher. Why do you think so much? Let us act and find out. There is nothing wrong with either path. Rather, a team should have both the kind of people. Then only a team will have complementary nature. My wife, her name is Deepa. She is much more of a senior professional than I am. She is HR head of a very 2,500 people company for the last 12 or 13 years. She is a person who is more of EA person or emotion action person. I am a concept action person. Our personality will always have this difference. I will say, because I am an action oriented person, I need to get things done, whatever happens. She will say, whatever happens won't, you have to be sensitive to people. You have to respect them. You have to do the process, all these kind of things. I'll give you a very interesting example, which will be interesting to us too. Today, this morning, I forgot to take my laptop's charger from my office yesterday. I was keeping it in my office yesterday. I forgot to take it. Today morning, I realized because we are going to it, my charge may be off. I suddenly called Praveen. You will be surprised to know his response. Praveen said, Rahul Ishwar, you should have been more careful. You should have cross-checked these things yesterday. Because Praveen, being a fact man, will cross-check even yesterday whether he is having a charger. But I, being an action person, called my office and I said, drop dead everything you do. Whatever you're doing, drop it. You have to get me the charger in the next 10 minutes. You have to do it. My wife listened to it. My wife said, you shouldn't be so rude. No, you can simply request the person there. Why don't you take this to me? I said, her name is Deepa. I said, Deepa, I'm not in a mood. I'm preparing for this. I'm having the PPT. I'm running through. I'm connecting to Gauravji. So I want it somehow. This is my action orientedness. If Deepa doesn't realize this, she will end up saying that you are a very matlabi person. You just want to get your things done. I will tell, see Deepa, no, all these kind of mushiness I cannot gather. So these are natural to every human being. Please remember your wife, your husband, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your colleagues, your friend, your enemy. All these people are having various psychometric tendencies and they cannot help it. And they cannot help bringing this. I, as a creative person, will suddenly create new and new concepts in a very meaningful and big way. Praveen will say, first, let us take this concept. Let us study this for a day. I'll say, what study this for a day? I have already created this concept. Praveen will want to explore more. But a team needs both. A team needs a grounded, rooted person like Praveen so that all the reliability, validity, empirical search can be done. It also needs a creative person like me who can create new things, who will speak with energy and passion. Had Praveen come today, Praveen right now is implementing a project in Dubai, so he for the Dubai government. Had Praveen come today, he would have been more professorial. When he said something, after every sentence, like Wikipedia, he will quote the source, saying that this is from this, this is from. I say, Areyar, why are you bothering them? They are not coming of telling who the source is. They want that knowledge. But Praveen will say, so no, knowledge can only be complete with the source. His speeches or his presentation will be more academical. After his presentation, you feel like that you have listened to a doctorate thesis or a lecture. After my presentation, I believe it is more emotionally connecting, vibrant, and I'm telling my personal experience regarding how I lost.
Perfectly said, sir. Perfectly. So when you said it in the initially itself, when you are an emotional action person, that is very visible, and this is something very interesting. In fact, everybody who's listening to this can actually relate to other people and identify. So if they just go through a little bit of it.
Yeah. And just one more line before I end. Unless we realize what happens, my friend or my wife will always end up blaming me for my personality. Unless I realize it is her personality, I will always end up saying this for this. So please remember, every person you meet around you have different psychometric tendencies. No one tendency is right or wrong. We learn to live and appreciate this variety, this diversity, and harmonize this diversity for the larger interest of a student or world. Okay. Gauravji, any question else? The last 10 minutes.
Yes, and one more question is there, which actually a lot of people have repeated, although it's very, very basic. The question is, if I want to put it in few words, how would I actually explain psychometric, this word? Because people are actually answering themselves the question. Some people are saying it's the brain ability. Some people are saying it has something to do with the psychology. So, for a layman, if I want to explain it in a very short term, because it will be helpful to explain to the parents.
I would submit this. For you to explain to students and teachers, please use 3 lines. 1, psychometrics is like biometrics. Why do I say this? Because our brain understands new information through association. They might be familiar with biometrics because we are taking Aadhaar and all. They will tell you where is your biometric data. So you will suddenly create an association. We understand by examples and association. So psychometrics is like biometrics, where you understand an individual. Even identify might be a technical academic word. So you can use the word understanding. Identify is the better word, but there is a more sharper word. But if you can use that word, well and good. Otherwise, psychometrics is the way through which you understand an individual, assess them, and help them grow. This is the simplest explanation of psychometrics. The word psych, or meaning mind or brain or our inner core, is the meaning of the word psych. Metrics or metric means measurement. So mental measurement. In simple words, psychometrics is mental measurements. That's the simple terms. For a more technical term, which teachers should know, you need not explain, we measure our traits, characteristics, capabilities. This is more of the technical term, because the word trait may not be popular and familiar to all the parents or students. So
that was the answer we were looking for. So just to keep it very, very simple so that everybody understands. And still people are saying, please continue the session. And but since now we are approaching the end of the session, so
I would just take one word there: measuring the individual. In the simplest of terms, measuring the individual. And why measuring? Everything you need to manage, you need to measure. If you are on a weight loss program, what is the first thing you should do? If you want to put down your weight, you should start measuring it. Those who really want to diet, which many of us, even I am doing, what do? We measure. We see whether my 85.3 became 85.1, or if you want to increase, 74 became 75 or something. So measurement is management. Management is measurement. Unless you are able to measure anything, you won't be able to manage. So psychometrics is mental measurement or individual measurement. Simple. Psychometrics is measuring an individual. Yeah.
So it's great to have such a wonderful session. I think a lot of participants who are already there would want to watch it again. So just for the information of all the participants, this session recording will be there. It will also be available on the CBSE website for you to watch, maybe to review what you had learned. If there are some points that you want to go through again, Rahul sir had been an amazing source of inspiration and motivation. I'm not even talking about the subject, the way the energy that Rahul sir has portrayed during the session, it's wonderful. A lot of people are highly motivated. We are getting very, very good feedback, sir, from others. And not only feedback, people are motivated. People are saying that I want to pick up psychological counseling, I want to pick up career counseling, and people are really highly motivated. And I would really like to thank you for your time and for presenting such a wonderful topic in such a nice, with a lot of stories, and everybody can relate to what you are saying. All the participants would, when you talked about different kind of personalities, I was actually thinking about the people I know, and I'm certain everybody would be thinking about somebody, not necessarily a specific student, but even your relatives, your friends. And this has been a very wonderful experience for me, and I think it's the same. So for all the participants, the feedback link is already there. If you go back to the registration page, you will find a feedback link. Please click on that link, fill the feedback form. Based on that, you will be receiving your certificates. Rahul sir, we'll certainly.
Can I just take 30 seconds to just conclude?
Certainly, sir, it's all yours.
So, as my concluding remarks, please remember these two things. On a spiritual, godly, or a cosmic level, we human beings are immeasurable. But on a real life level, unless we measure, we won't be able to help and improve people. Whoever it is, that measurement is a beautiful, it is not a negative thing. It is not pigeonholing. It is not downsizing, but rather it is to assist and help our own children, our own friends, our own colleagues, so that they can improve. So please learn more about psychometrics. It's the art and science of human measurement. When you measure, you can manage and you can improve, and that's the best way. And every person you meet, when you can quantify that, measure the immeasurable aspects of a human being which you should respect, and measure those aspects for improvement in a meaningful way, it would be great. And I'd like to also tell one point. I had at least taken session in 12 nations across the world. Let me be with great pride tell you, the effort CBSE is taking, or the effort Media and Entertainment Skill Council are taking, many of the developing nations are not doing it. See, I'm proud, I'm super proud to tell that. I know I was in Finland, I was telling, it's a very advanced nation. But the efforts we are doing as a nation in this regard is commendable across the world. And we are in the right trajectory. Yes, more results needs to be shown, more results needs to come. But we have started in a really good way. And this will go a long way in nurturing. And this is the core of nurturing our demographic dividend. Because the greatest resource India, we are having is our human resource. And that human resource needs to be measured, managed, and flourished in a very good way. I thank CBSE for this great opportunity. I thank Media and Entertainment Skill Council, Mohit sir, Niti ma'am, and Gauravji, who has been passionately listening. Looking into his face was itself an inspiration for me to talk. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your energy that has been getting into me. So I also feel very energetic. And really, it's a wonderful session. I can say it's a privilege, it's a pleasure. I can use so many adjectives, but it's been wonderful. We really thank you for your time. Certainly, I will connect with you again. We look forward to more sessions with you, sir. Now, I would like to address the participants who are there. We have the feedback forms which are open. Please go to the registration page again. On that page, you can find the link to the feedback form. Please fill in your feedback forms with the correct information. This information will be used to make your generate your certificates. Your certificates will be available on 28th of June. That is on Friday. You can download. The download link is also there in the registration page. Now we have more sessions lined up, another session tomorrow and day after, same time, same format, similar registration form, which you can find in the circular, and we'll follow the same format. We'll have a speaker. Once the session is concluded, there'll be a feedback form which you need to fill, and then your certificates will be generated and again shared on the 28th of June for both the sessions which are yet to come. I hope everybody had A wonderful experience. You learned quite a lot. A lot of people have shown in the comments that they are highly motivated. We at Media and Entertainment Skills Council are looking forward for serving you with such sessions and to have wonderful teachers in our nation. We have to ensure that our future generation, which is yet to come, which are in your hands, your safe hands, nurturing hands, comes out with a very bright future. So with that, let me thank CBSE, Secretary Sir Himanshu Gupta, Neeti Ma'am, Deputy Secretary, and I would really like to thank all the participants for your time for attending this session. So let's conclude the session. See you in the next one.